Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of August, and it is really hard to believe that we are almost finished with summer, and we're about to move on to the final run of the year of 2020. And wow, has this been an amazing year. And I think you know what I mean by amazing. Things that we never thought would happen are happening this year. And there's a lot more to come, because I believe the second portion of 2020 is going to be even more intense than the first part of 2020. Imagine that. But for the month of August, I think we're kind of at a low ebb, because it's right before the brink of radical shifts and changes. So what does this month hold for us? Because I feel like people are in a depressed mode. Why? Because Jupiter and Saturn have been retrograde for so long. They will turn direct in September. And in September, we're going to see where the tides are going to change remarkably. But right now, it's right before this shift takes place. So we know and we feel something's about to happen, but we're not there yet. But one thing I do want to remind everyone is that this month will be incredibly stressful for storms, for hurricanes, for all sorts of severe weather, and particularly flooding. Why? Because we have Mars Gandanta. Mars is Gandanta August 14th through the 16th. And what does that mean? Remember, always, I'm talking about the sidereal Vedic zodiac, not tropical Western. And so when a planet is Gandanta, it is in the last few degrees of water, very first few degrees of fire. But when it's in the water signs, which could be either Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, the very last few degrees, it is considered Gandanta, which I was always taught it was relative to a sense of drowning, even though it doesn't translate exactly to drowning. Watch how it always has to do with something dealing with storms. Gandanta planets are powerful, and also when you consider it can be taken literally or figuratively, because when you look at the sense of drowning figuratively, feels like you're out of control. You can't get control back. This is a powerfully intense time. So I'm really saying to everyone, take great caution with this hurricane season, because it will be one of the worst. Mars will go Gandanta again October 5th through the 7th, and lastly December 22nd through the 25th. But it's really going to be intense this August. Remember, August 14th through the 16th. There will be flooding and storms, severe weather all over the world. And the depression that's coming, it's almost like a weather depression, because moods are low, people are feeling low, people are not themselves. They feel this shift, and they've been emotionally down for so long that now everyone just wants a change. That's what everyone's pretty much looking forward to. Now, Mars is slowing down this month. It is about to go retrograde September 9th. And we're feeling that Martian energy slow down. Mars is about anger, violence, war. People are starting to, well, they have been, but strike out in a different way, because I feel like anger many times can relate to when you push down feelings of depression. So sometimes when you have not really recognized the feelings of depression, what explodes out of it is anger. And the masses of people around the world are brewing. There's things that they don't like. There's things that are coming up. And there's about to be a lot of scandals this month as well. But as I said, the stock market, The stock market, I feel like, because the moods and the people and the minds are depressed this month, so will the stock market be depressed. But I've told many people, you could, take advantage of this when it goes down. But I see where it will rise again incredibly by next February and March of 2021. So I will keep you posted with that. But take advantage of the downward cycle. That's the time to invest. And you will be happy by the time we get into next spring, because that's when things are going to be back. That's when everything's going to come back. And let me talk about this coronavirus. I've been telling everyone that by the end of September, when Rahu and Ketu shift signs, Rahu will go into Taurus and Ketu will go into Scorpio. This will be September 19th, 2020, next month. When this happens, there will be so much relief. There will be hope again, because so much is shifting. We are going to be moving out of those signs and nakshatras that were so destructive, especially when Ketu moves out of the nakshatra Mula, which Ketu's been in Mula for quite some time, and really around the time that the coronavirus hit hard had a lot to do with Ketu being in the nakshatra Mula. Remember, Mula's goddess that rules this nakshatra is Nriti. Nriti is the goddess of destruction. And that's exactly what happens every time Rahu went into Gemini and Ketu went into Mula in Sagittarius throughout the last 18.5-year cycles. So we're about to move out of this, and there's about to be a healing of this coronavirus. Yes, while we have Rahu in Taurus, and Rahu being in Taurus, by the way, does deal with commodities, does deal with the physical wealth and money. And this will bring things back into balance for finances around the world. But I still don't see where there's going to be a lot of globalization, where people are fair trade throughout the world. I see so many countries pulling in order to better their countries and not benefit others. So you're going to see more of a containment, where countries such as the United States start to make more of their products in the United States. All countries will be doing this because they feel like they've got to improve and support themselves. There'll be a time again when globalization and trade will come back. But for right now, people are really consolidating because they have to. That is how they're going to make things work. So another thing that I see happening is that the healing of disease. Yes, so let me give you the timeline. We'll start to see hope at the end of September as to something that will give us our freedom back. Freedom to travel, go to restaurants, do the things we used to do. We're going to start having hope, whether it comes through a vaccine. I know a lot of people won't take the vaccine, that's fine. But for those that do want it, it gives them hope. And what if there's some other kind of cure, dealing with energy, with light? That's where I see cures coming about, not only for the coronavirus, but for other diseases. There's going to be cures come out of this year. This year is a year of introspection and spirituality. And this should have taught us great lessons, not only about society and the world, but also about ourselves. Remember, while Jupiter has been traveling with Ketu, it's all about the spiritual realization and expression within all of us. But I will say this once more again. It does make religious fanaticism deeper. So many will become more fanatical and more deeply rooted in their religious beliefs. And that does separate many people, because there's not going to be as much awareness, or that people are going to want to accept other beliefs or other ways of thinking and believing, people will feel like their way is the only way. And that pushed onto people is never a good thing, because we all need freedom. Freedom of thought to believe whichever way we want to believe. But you'll see, between now and November 20th, while Jupiter is still in the sign of Sagittarius, there will be more fanaticism and pulling in with people's beliefs according to religion. And I believe the answer is spirituality, to really look within instead of without for our answers. That's what I consider spirituality. So as we reach to the end of the year, the end of 2020, I think there's going to be great hope, although there's going to be great violence that comes about with protest and anger, and possibly even a civil war throughout the world. In many respects, people are enraged, and the political scene around the world is not good. It is going to be a tough next 6 months, dealing with politics and what is truth, the media. It's going to be an incredible purging of so many things that have been wrong for so long. The truth will come out for so many things for so long. And if you're thinking what political party will win, especially in the United States, think again. They are going to be at such odds that they're going to destroy each other. That's what I'm practically seeing. And yes, I have analyzed the charts of Biden and Trump to great detail. And I have come across great change. And they're for good and bad for both of their charts. It looks like something dramatic will change everything. So if we have the elections, on election day, there will be a catastrophic fight as to who won. And there will not be an answer, just like the year of 2000 when Bush and Gore ran. Mercury stationed on that day. And once again, this year of 2020, November 3rd, Mercury stations to go direct on that day, just exactly like it did in the year of 2000. So get ready. The rage is on and the fight is on. So I will keep you posted in many respects with all of that. So let's get down to basics and look at this month in greater detail, what the planets are doing. So I'm getting that around August 2nd, the sun will be squaring Uranus. And this is a planet that deals with, the sun is definitely leadership. So rulers and leaders. With the sun and Uranus in this hard square, there is no sense of security coming from leadership. It is lacking on both sides. No one knows what to do. There is no clear leader in this world right now. And it just seems like everything's falling apart. So then I'm getting that this is part with the trade wars that have been going on, and this is where the leadership and the countries are falling apart because there are no agreements happening in terms of this. Now, the next thing that I'm seeing is August 3rd, when Mercury is going to be opposing Saturn. And it is a full moon at 7 degrees of Capricorn. Remember, I'm doing the sidereal zodiac, not tropical Western. This will be pretty much a depression because Capricorn is all about government. And what is happening to the governments around the world? They're being detoxed and changed. There's things that have to change. Otherwise, the world will never be the same again unless this cleansing happens. And that's what you're going to see really starting up this month. Now, when I look to August 4th, this is going to be when Mars is in a hard aspect to Jupiter. And Mars is coming up here to the latter degrees of Pisces. And what we're going to have here is there's going to be problems around what? Spirituality and religious beliefs. That's what's going to be really coming up in the world. And we can even see in countries like Turkey, they're taking predominance over certain religions, taking back things to the past. Many people are going to be taking things back to the past. So then looking at August 5th, we're looking at Venus will be conjunct Rahu. And you know, many times when Venus is conjunct Rahu, it has a lot to do with aviation and travel. And because it's in the sign of Gemini, it's exactly what this is. But there's also going to be a lot of discoveries, especially some of the scandals and amazing things that we never thought would come out will come out. But I think it has a lot to do with the sex trafficking and all of that horrible stuff going on. Finally, there's going to be progress in healing put towards this instead of this corruption that keeps growing. So there's going to be some explosive events dealing with that. Now, the next date I see is August 13th. And that's going to be when Mars squares Pluto. That can be pretty violent because Pluto is all about explosive events and the clearing. And it does deal with destruction. So Mars, you're going to find anger and frustration and blow-ups around the world. Emotionally, people can't take what's happening to them anymore. And they're being really resistant to the changes that are happening in the world. So another big date is August 14th through the 16th. Remember, that's a time of hurricanes and severe weather and floods and drowning around the world. Now, another thing that I noticed is the transit of Mars. Where it is very significant in Pisces because this was very similar to many events concerning earthquakes, especially even the Japanese earthquake that happened in the year of 2011. Mars is in a very precarious position that is going to shake the world. And another thing is Uranus is going to turn retrograde around August 15th. And Uranus rules sudden, unexpected events that happen when you least expect it. So this involves earthquake energy. Also, it involves lightning and storms. So this is going to be a very turbulent month in terms of storms, but particularly storms and earthquakes. Earth changes. The earth is shifting. And it is because of so much human emotion that is rocking our world because we're right on the brink of radical shifts and changes that this planet does need. It has to come through and it will make it a better world. But we're right now, we're getting ready to go through that tunnel. And there is light at the other side, but get ready. We're getting ready for a big ride very soon. August is preparing us. So August 16th will be when Mars enters Aries. So really the 16th, it's still pretty much Gandanta, but it's in a fire sign. There can even be some fires and things that start up. But Mars in Aries is extraordinarily intense. It's ruled by Aries, and Aries is very impulsive and impatient. And people are not going to be patient anymore. We need these radical changes and shifts. And you're going to see that Mars is in Aries from August 16th till October 4th. Remember, Mars will be turning retrograde September 9th. So as it's turning retrograde, it's going to go back into Pisces, but back into Aries. So it's going to be in Aries August 16th through October 4th. Then again, December 24th through February 22nd. And I have to say, Mars is very violent. It rules weapons. And when it's in Aries, this will come out. People will be more violent and angrier than ever before. That's why, one of the reasons why I say there will be so many protests and craziness going on, because Mars actually stations to go direct. November 14th, a week after the elections. So this is going to be a turbulent year. Everything is heating up. People are angry as to the facts that they have not been given the truth about everything. And this month, I think a lot of the truths about the coronavirus are coming out as well, especially September. September is where the air really clears. It's like we're going into this dense fog that we can't see what's about to happen. But then the air will clear. And then we have this hope that will reside over everything. You see, the month of August, we're not there yet. We're in that darkness, and that's why there's a sense of depression going on. So by the time we reach August 18th, that's the new moon in Leo. And the new moon in Leo will return a sense of stability with power and leadership. Leo is about leadership. So that is a turning point where things will start to improve and get better. Now, one more thing, August 17th, Mercury will be exactly conjunct the sun. Okay. Now, normally when Mercury's conjunct the sun, when it's in an inferior conjunction, meaning the Earth, Mercury, and the sun are lined up, this conjunction is when Mercury is retrograde, the inferior conjunction. And it's a bad time to start things when Mercury's retrograde and you have this conjunction. But at this point, August 17th, Mercury is conjunct the sun on the other side. You have Earth, Sun, and Mercury all aligned. And this is called a superior conjunction. This means that Mercury is moving at tip-top speed. And actually on that day, it's a Cassimi, meaning that Mercury and the sun unite as one. So the sun exudes Mercury's energy for that one day. A lot of people think to themselves that, well, Mercury's combusts the sun, but think again, Mercury is always close to the sun, so it really never is a combustion in Vedic astrology. It's actually a yoga, and it actually denotes great intelligence. But Mercury Cassimi for that one day, it is a good day on that day to start new businesses. And with Mercury going at tip-top speed, it's a time of new beginnings, especially in business. So then again, August 24th, I'm looking at Mars squaring Saturn. This will be when there'll be a lot of changes coming down with the government and laws. Probably all the protests, all the rioting will have to be put to a stop by government demands and laws and regulations. You're going to see a lot of violence because things are going to have to come about to change and stop what's been going on for so long. And that will be during the August 24th date when Mars and Saturn are in a square to each other. So August 25th, we have Venus will be opposing Jupiter, and the signs are Gemini and Sagittarius. And I think this is a time when peace rallies, things to promote peace are coming back. So there's not so much violence and anger because there has to be a stop to it. This is what I see by this time, by the end of the month. Then by the time that we have Venus oppose Pluto, remember Pluto and Jupiter are traveling very tight together. This will be August 30th. And this is going to be when many secrets and scandals will be revealed about government, leaders, and even in your own personal life. If there's something maybe that you've been hiding or dishonest about, there can be times of revelations because Venus-Pluto deals many times with betrayals. So watch that in your personal life. You could feel betrayed, or if you have not been totally honest, things will come out. This is something for you to be very aware of. So this is a month of really transition, change. There is depression being felt all around the world, but that's about to change because people are ready to strike out and jump into action and change things. Mars and Aries will predominate that. Now, I want to give some little tools and techniques that I feel are important for everyone to get through this period. And these were some of the tools and techniques that I used personally in my life when my life was the most difficult. It was in 2004, and I lost both my parents, and it seems like I lost everything. And in those times, we all go through down periods in our life. And I know a lot of people are down right now. So what did I do to get back on my feet? Well, one thing I really checked in about is I did some self-analysis and looked at where I was casting blame outside myself. Oh, it was this person, it was that person, it was somebody in my life that was causing me to be in the predicament I was. But that wasn't true at all, because I wasn't taking responsibility for the things I could change. Instead of blaming other people or circumstances or things, look at what you can do to change this in your life. That's taking back responsibility, and it's stopping being a victim anymore, because victims are the ones that blame everything outside themselves, never taking responsibility back to change themselves. When you change yourself, you will change your life. That's the only thing you have control of. So if you think you're going to change this whole predicament with the governments, the real way that you can change that is to look within and find your own sense of peace and do what you have to do to stop repeating the old patterns from your past that get you nowhere. Nowhere. That's what a victim does, and they never grow or get anywhere. This is a time of self-analysis and growth. When things get difficult, that's the best opportunities that we have for radical shifts and changes, to take charge, to change ourselves wherever it may be, to have a new life. And what are some of the ways and tools and techniques I did? You know, I really took some self-analysis. And you know, even my kids would say, "Mom, you're not walking your talk. You're not following your truth. You talk about the law of attraction, what you put out, you get back. Well, you keep blaming things." So I stopped, and I really, really looked within. Here's something I want you to know about relationships, though. When you have expectations in your relationships, you will always be disappointed. So you cannot expect others to change, but take that power back to change yourself. And here are some of the tools I did. One is to change my thoughts and my beliefs. You can't be negatively talking about others or other things. You have to change that within yourself and use positive thoughts and beliefs. Change those beliefs from the past that have got you stuck, where your life isn't working. You can change that, and you have to change that if you want your life to change and start achieving your goals and finding your sense of happiness. And yes, everyone has this power. So changing our thoughts and our beliefs is number one. Take an inventory on what you're believing and where your thoughts are going. It can't be that you're negative constantly. The next thing is change your vocabulary. If you are putting yourself down, putting others down, change those words into positive words, affirming confidently who you are and what you're here to do, not using degrading words ever. That just reflects what you're thinking. So change your voice and what you have to say. That will reflect what you're thinking as well. They go hand in hand. So the next thing that I did was I would journal. And journaling is a process of getting your thoughts outside of yourself. And we may have these repetitive thoughts that go over and over in our mind. We know we are being ridiculous. We keep going over these same thoughts, but we can't stop. I call it a hiccup of the brain, actually. But a way to bring a stop to that is to journal it, to write it, to get it out, make it real instead of that repetition in the brain. get it on paper or get it on the computer, type it out, process your thoughts through writing, journaling, and this will put a stop. And you will find when you journal that so much will start to come out. So much more will start to come out. In other words, you'll start channeling. You'll start channeling an energy, your higher self that knows all, that is all, connected to everything. And that process will heal you. So journaling is a beautiful way of healing. The other thing that I practiced on a lot was breath work. And one of the ways that I like to use my breath work, of course, yoga and breathing techniques are wonderful. Because remember, when we're afraid, we breathe very shallow. And I always say this, the great yogis say, change the way you breathe and you change your consciousness. But it's not that easy, because if you're in a fearful state, you won't be aware of your breathing and you will be doing the shallow breathing again. But one way that forces you to breathe deep for a long duration is exercise. And I have been a runner for 40 years. I love to run. When I would go out and listen to music, my favorite music, in a repetitious beat, some of my most profound thoughts and revelations would come through during those times. So use exercise, get out in nature, breathe deep. This is so healing. This is remarkably healing, and it is essential. So another one that I love is using mantras or affirmations. If you want to know what you're saying and you connect more with it, there is nothing wrong with using affirmations versus the mantras. Mantras are known for their vibrational frequency that can shift things within you. But I actually found that I got so much out of affirmations. And always my affirmations were put in the context where I always left it up to a higher power to direct my life. And I would always say, may the best thing happen for me for my highest good. May the best thing happen for my life at this time for my highest good. Because sometimes we think we know what was best for us, but we could be totally wrong. Be careful what you wish for. Allow that power to bring in what you need to find your happiness. So connect to your divine, connect to your divinity that's within you and in your heart. And I always use astrology for self-understanding, because when I look at a birth chart, I always look at a birth chart as all the karmas of a soul wrapped up into one. This is the chart of everything that you have been in the past. And if you have a difficult chart, let's say for marriage or relationships, you have, let's say, some malefic planets in your 7th house of marriage and relationships, this doesn't mean that you're destined for that forever. It means that you came into this lifetime with this karma from past lifetimes, but now is the time for you to recognize what you have to learn from your chart so that you can shift that karma, so you don't have to come back and have difficult relationships. You see, our chart is telling us what we've come here to learn because of all of the sum accumulation of all of our experiences before. So you can't just look at a chart and go, oh, you've got Mars in the 7th house, you'll never have a good marriage. No, you have to learn what it takes to have a good marriage, what that is telling you about your relationships and your partner. And there's where the healing begins, when you work on yourself to heal the issues the chart is telling you that you came in with, because nobody wants to repeat all those karmas again. And unless you work on this, you will come back with the same karmas because they weren't ever healed. So looking at your birth chart and truly understanding astrology is key, because astrology, they say, the great seers say, know thyself and you will know everything in the universe, such as when you know yourself, what situations you attract, because you're to learn through those situations. If you truly understand this and you heal this, this is ultimately real healing. And what we are here to heal is our emotions, our experiences, our spirituality. So really what it all boils down to, it's all healing deals with body, mind, spirit, and emotion. When you heal on all those levels, you are healed, and there will be no disease. There will be none of this emotional turmoil that we are all going through at this time. So use some of these simple tools and techniques, and I guarantee you, your life will change dramatically. So as I said, what have you learned from this coronavirus? I think it's very important to do some self-inventory to see what you have learned. And you should be learning more about yourself, because that is the ultimate healing. So take this as the greatest opportunity, and always remember, when you come from a place of gratitude, that is the energy that will transform your life. So be grateful for the hardships that you have, because they're transforming your life to a much better life and awareness and higher consciousness. So always remember, though, the best place to be is in the heart, because always love heals all. I know I say this repetitiously, but hopefully one day it'll click and you get it. We all have that experience. So with that, I want to close. If you would like more information about me, or if you would like to sign up for my free newsletter, remember my free newsletter has all of this information, dates, times, everything that I'm talking about right now, and even more. So go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org, sign up for my free newsletter, and if you want to learn more about my services, you will find it on galacticcenter.org. Now, if you would like to start studying Vedic astrology with me, now's the time. So go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.